and this is Archive of 12, and today we are reacting to a Black Myth Sun Wukong song by JT Music featuring Andrea Kaden, The Journey. Now, as I mentioned in the DPS reaction that I just did, because I'm a little over a week late on that, I know a decent amount of Sun Wukong's lore. I have not played Black Myth Sun Wukong. I have personal gripes with the way the studio is deciding to handle things like streaming. And I get a very distinct impression that, like, knowing my personality, if I were to stream that game, I more likely than not would probably end up having a cease and desist letter sent to me, because I would purposely say some of the trigger words that they're asking streamers not to say. Like, you know, talking about the pandemic that we just got through, or talking about feminism, like, you know, or feminist propaganda, I think is how they worded it, like things like that. I'm not a big fan of that, so I personally have steered away from the game. I have very limited knowledge of the game itself, but I know a fair bit about the Sun Wukong lore. So if there's stuff in the game that is not covered in the lore, then I probably am not going to know about it. But if it's like a retelling of the lore, there's a pretty good chance that I'm going to know what this is being referenced to. But knowing JT Music, there may not be anything about the game in the song about the game, because that would be spoilers. I suppose we'll have to find out. Link will be in the description below if you want to watch this without my commentary, because we'll be pausing it, we'll be talking about it. And without further ado, let's get started.
Cause I thought I did, but that dude, he took a lot out of me. Back to the mountain beast, jumping through those hoops, didn't do me good. What did he hoop me to indulge a bit? Come from another door, I want all of it. You bet any loophole in which I can fit this ego. I know it's time to play. Tell me, what am I but an avatar? And it's spitting him into my job apart. Cause I'm picking this up when we left the bar. And he said it quite high, cause that is star. If you got up above, I'm beyond obeying. The level I'm on, they not just saying. I'm a falling apple, and I made it far. Actually, I'm...
Hold on. Was that spelled the way I think it was? Almost. I was expecting that to be spelled like Saiyan from Dragon Ball, because of the fact that Son Goku is inspired by Sun Wukong. So I was like, was there an I there? But no, there is no I. It's just very interesting that they spelled it like that. Maybe there was intended to be an I there. I don't know. But regardless, I like how JT has decided to start this off. Again, very vague. Like, we don't get a lot of official context about the game in the song so far. It's mostly talking about Sun Wukong, and he's taking a similar approach that DPS did, in that he's coming at the topic of Sun Wukong not specifically from the game, but just as the character, the legend, which I think is a good way of going about it, not just to avoid spoilers, but also to be able to talk more narratively about the character. Because if you Wukong has a massive, like, story. So if you're only focusing on the Black Myth game, it limits you to what you can write, when Sun Wukong is a very complex character. And there's a reason why he's considered a legendary hero for China. So, like, I am very grateful that he's being treated this carefully by JT, just like he was with DPS, in not specifically being shackled to the game, but being more, having more expansion go into talking about the overall myth of the character. I'm a fallen apple, and I made it far. Actually, I'm a beast. She turned into a somersault. It's in the clouds, I'm got a primitive, I'm in my primate. Divinity gets really my taste. But the wine's great, my kind ain't. Give me an item and I'm fine shape. Started a rock bottom, a bar came up between. I was looking a hard place. Decide with whom you'll side. Take mine and I say that for thine. Say I can make girl on go third eye blind. These deities are these right. Got a mountain peak on my sideline. Cause with each victory, that's my fight climb. Every time same ending, on the right rhyme. But the ghost of the past don't get the right mind. There's nothing we'll never be alone. Okay, I will say this though about the song. As I'm listening to it, I am finding that similar to the Armored Core 6 song that JT Music released not too long ago, I am finding that the emphasis on the vocal distortions is difficult to, it makes the song difficult to understand. Now, what I mean by that is that it's very clear, I'm not saying that specifically it's auto-tune, but it's very clear that there is some kind of vocal distortion element being added to the voices, most prominently on Andrea Kaden, but also to JT Music himself, that make the lyrics a little muddy to listen to. Like, it's difficult to understand some of the things that are being said because the reverberation and the way that the lyrics are being augmented just does not sound correct. It sounds too filtered. It doesn't sound as filtered as the Armored Core song, though. That one was really difficult to understand. Oh my goodness. Like, even to this day, there are still elements of that song that I don't fully grasp lyrically because I can't understand them. But this one does have enough of an element there that it, especially when Andrea was on, it was throwing me off. Like, I feel like there was a different type of vocal effect that could have been used. With Andrea's, I feel like trying to turn her voice into something like a choir or something would have been better, but it sounded like it was just, I'm going to rewind it a little bit so you can hear what I'm trying to say. But there's just something about the way that Andrea's part and some of JT's part has been augmented. It just makes it very difficult to understand. Like, if those lyrics were not there, I would never have guessed that if nothing will ever be enough was what she said. Like, genuinely, it just sounds so hard to really wrap your head around. And that one too, like, when I hear "I'll bet on you never giving up," when I hear that with the distortion, my brain is telling me something completely different. Hold on, let me rewind it and see if I can tell you what my brain thinks. So my brain is like almost getting those words mixed up. Like, I'm thinking that the way that my brain originally interpreted it was saying, something along the lines of like, I'm giving up, you can bet on it, I think is what my brain originally read it as, even though that's not what it says. And that didn't make any sense. And then when I listened to it the second time, it made more sense. And then when I listen to it now, the third time, I can clearly tell you that that's what it's saying. I'll bet on you never giving up. But with the distortion, that is not what it sounded like to me at first. And this part here, again, it's like he's flipping from ear to ear. He's going from left to right, and he's adding distortion back and forth depending on which area he's talking in. And again, it makes it difficult for me to follow along without this. This is becoming almost a regular thing with JT Music. Like, the song is fantastic, but I don't like how the reverb and the vocal editing is causing it more and more to be difficult to understand. I don't get why that's the choice that they're going with now, because it's not, that hasn't been a choice until like within the last like 3 or 4 songs, I think.
reception. All six I sense. I'll admit a bit of balsam. Forget the standard damping now. Don't help, they help me back. To shed the shell of self that left me shackled to the past. Celestial assholes would have me bound and gagged. Unless I what, just get down and back. Fuck that, call y'all my underlings. Cause I'm far from done with the monkey blues. I'm running this, bulldog your piss. I know it cause you smell of it. Just keep your fingers out of this. Your future's bleak because I exist.
Now that section there with Andrea's like actual like part was gorgeous. Like I liked the mixing there a lot. I really feel like what they're trying to do, I think, is trying to make Andrea sound distant, like she was a voice in the wind or something like that. And I just don't think that that audio effect is the way they should have gone with it. I feel like there probably should have been something else they could have done, whether that be like make her a little bit more echoey or put her into a choir and like just make all the points in the voice, like all the different like versions of the lion just quieter. I don't know exactly what they could have done there, but I feel like there is something that they could have done that would have been better than what they tried, because it makes it so difficult to actually understand her. Personally, maybe other people will disagree. Maybe other people can understand her just fine. Personally, I find it very difficult to understand. But the mixing and editing on the actual part she just had was phenomenal. Like I love that. That was really, really, really good. And I love the fact that like she's bringing an emotional resonance to this, similar to how Jonold brought an emotional resonance to the DPS Sun Wukong song.
If you want some beef, I'll slap you like I'm bumping beats, steamroll anybody trying to touch this beast. I know to treat my staff well at least. All is one fall in hominids. Time for the gods to give us homages. I'm the king Wukong, what you got on this? Lie to yourself, tell me I'm just a man. I'm not the one you want to spurn. Heaven's humble, then to burn. This stage ain't green no more, no sir. With westward eyes, I'm not returned. Now monkey see, monkey learn. Embrace my nature and walk this earth. Embark upon a journey that's on my terms. Be it may, only yours.
Also, I love how I do wish that Andrea had a bigger part in that, but I love the part that she had, because it has so many like contextual parts to the Sun Wukong legend. Like I'm actually gonna break this down. Because I don't normally do that, but I'm actually gonna break this down because I actually know, like I said, some of the Sun Wukong legend. Okay, so this part here obviously is referencing the fact that he was held under a rock by Buddha for over 500 years. So that's what that line specifically is referencing. I love the wordplay for that section there where they reined you in, they calmed you down basically, but also you took off the crown because you no longer were like the Monkey King. But the wordplay is reign, like reigning like a king. So like you were reigning like a king and then you took off the crown, while at the same time also you got calmed down because you were a jerk leading up to that rock being placed on top of you, and you let go of a lot of your self-entitledness. Like one thing that I pointed out in the DPS reaction is that Wukong, he gets calmer but he never loses a lot of the arrogance that he has. What he at least in some of the stories that I know of, he ends up like becoming wiser because of it. He ends up becoming more astute, more along the lines of what you would expect a sage to be. But like, he still loves the thrill of the fight. He still is cocky and at times like will taunt his opponents, similar to what you'd expect Spider-Man to do. Like, he doesn't lose everything about himself. He just becomes more learned and becomes wiser due to being humbled by Buddha. And so that line there definitely like is a double play on words, in that it's talking about his previous claim of being the Monkey King and then taking off the crown, and also being reined in from being that arrogant jerk that he was before. And clearly the final line there is talking about like what happens after he got reined in, like when he starts going on the journey to the west to learn and to, you know, do a whole bunch of things. He has like I said, he has a vast story. I like that this song definitely did not focus exclusively on the game. It was definitely set for the game. I'm going to let it play out muted. It's definitely set for the game, but it's not exclusive to the game. It is definitely a Sun Wukong as a character, not Sun Wukong from the game. Which is, again, like I said with DPS's reaction, that is the way that you want to do something like that. Personally, I feel like that's the way you do that. But anyway, that's going to be it for me. Thank you for joining me. I am ArcAlpha12, and I will see you in the next video.